Present day 2024. Omaha, Nebraska. Small apartment, 3rd floor. You're sitting alone. 68 years old. Your name is Robert Miller. That's not your real name. Your real name is Salvatore Greco. But nobody can know that. Because if Cosa Nostra finds out, you're dead. Same morning routine for 31 years. Check car underneath for bombs, tracking devices, anything. You learned this in Sicily when you drove for them, for the bosses, for Toto Riina, the boss of bosses. You were his autista driver for 15 years. You heard everything, saw everything, and now you're paying for it. You work at a car wash. Ironic. You used to drive the most powerful men in Sicily. Now you wash Chevrolets in Nebraska for minimum wage, $10 per hour. You're 68, should be retired in Sicily with family. But they're dead. All dead. Because you talked. Because you became pentito, informant. And Cosa Nostra never forgives. Never forgets. The nightmares never stop. Judge Giovanni Falcone, his car exploding on the highway, the crater, his wife dead. Judge Palermo Borsellino, the Via D'Amelio bombing on his mother's street, 5 bodyguards dead. You could have stopped it. Both times. You heard the plans in your car. They talked freely because drivers are invisible furniture. But you heard everything. And you said nothing. Until it was too late. Your wife Maria, car bomb, 1993. Your daughter Lucia, shot age 18 outside university, 1993. Your mother, strangled age 70, 1993. All within 2 months. Retaliation for testifying, for breaking omertà, code of silence. You saved yourself. But everyone you loved died. You've lived with that for 31 years in this apartment, in this city, in this prison. Alone. You close your eyes. You remember how it started. 1978. You were 22 and thought you were just getting a job as a driver. Age 22, 1978. 1978, Palermo, Sicily. You're 22, Salvatore. Everyone calls you Turi. Your father is a mechanic, honest man, poor. You learned to drive at 16. You're good fast, smooth, careful. You work as taxi driver, barely surviving. One day, a customer, older man, well-dressed, expensive suit. Take me to Via Liberta. You drive smoothly, professionally. At destination, what's your name? You tell him Turi. He nods. I'm Don Michele Greco. People call me the Pope. I need a driver I can trust. Someone quiet. 500 euros weekly. Interested? 500 euros, 10 times your taxi income. You say yes. You're desperate, young, stupid. You don't know Don Michele Greco is one of the most powerful Cosa Nostra bosses in Sicily. You just became a mafia driver. Age 22 to 27, 1978 to 1983, your job. Drive Don Michele everywhere. Meetings, restaurants, funerals, weddings. You never ask questions. You hear everything. Cosa Nostra conducts business in cars, mobile offices, hard to bug. Drivers are treated like furniture. They assume you're deaf and dumb. You hear murders being ordered. Drug shipments discussed. Bribes to politicians arranged. Police payoffs negotiated. You learn the rules. Never repeat what you hear. Never look at faces during meetings in the back seat. Never ask questions. Stay invisible. This is omertà, the code of silence. Break it, you die. Your family dies. Everyone you love dies. 1983, Don Michele is arrested in the Maxi Trial, massive prosecution of 474 Cosa Nostra members led by Judge Giovanni Falcone. It's the biggest anti-Mafia trial in Italian history. Don Michele gets life in prison. You lose your job. Age 27 to 42, 1983 to 1998, 1983, you're recommended to Salvatore, Toto Riina, the boss of bosses, the most powerful and violent Cosa Nostra leader in history. He needs a new driver. Your reputation, quiet, professional, loyal. He hires you. For 15 years, you drive Toto Riina. You hear him order hundreds of murders, politicians, judges, prosecutors, journalists, rival mafiosi, police officers. You drive him to meetings where death sentences are pronounced like restaurant orders. You're in the car for thousands of conversations. You know everything. Age 32, 1988, Maxi Trial appeals begin. Hundreds of Cosa Nostra members are convicted. The prosecutors, Judge Giovanni Falcone and Judge Palermo Borsellino, heroes fighting the Mafia. Riina is obsessed with them. Every conversation, Falcone must die. Borsellino must die. They humiliated us. Age 36 to 37, 1992 to 1993, 1992, the plans solidify. You're driving Riina to a meeting. He's discussing with Cosa Nostra leaders in the back seat. May 23rd assassination target, Judge Falcone. The method, massive bomb on the A29 highway near Capaci. 500 kilograms of explosives in a drainage pipe under the road. Riina says, when Falcone drives over, we detonate remotely. His car will disintegrate. We send a message, nobody is untouchable. You're driving. Your hands are shaking on the wheel. They don't notice. You say nothing. What can you say? You report it, Riina kills you. You stay silent, Falcone dies. You're trapped by omertà. You choose silence. May 23, 1992, 5:58 p.m. Judge Giovanni Falcone, his wife, also a judge, and 3 bodyguards are driving from Palermo Airport. They pass over the bomb. It detonates. The explosion creates a crater 30 feet wide. All 5 killed instantly. The car disintegrated. You watched the news that night. Crying. You could have stopped it. You said nothing. 2 months later, July 1993. Riina is planning another bombing. Via D'Amelio, Palermo, the street where Judge Palermo Borsellino's mother lives. Borsellino visits her every Sunday. The plan, car bomb, 90 kilograms of explosives, remote detonation. You're driving Riina again. He's discussing it. Borsellino visits his mother every Sunday. We bomb the street. Make it personal. Let them know, family isn't safe either. You're hearing this. Every detail. The date. The location. The method. And again you say nothing. Fear. Cowardice. Self-preservation. July 19, 1992, 4:56 p.m. Judge Palermo Borsellino arrives at his mother's building, Via D'Amelio. The bomb detonates. Borsellino and 5 bodyguards killed instantly. The explosion destroys the street. His mother hears it from inside. You watch the news. 2 judges dead. 10 bodyguards dead. You heard both plans. You said nothing both times. Age 37, January 1993, January 15, 1993. You're driving Riina through Palermo. Police roadblock. Special anti-Mafia unit. They surround the car. Arrest Riina. After 30 years as fugitive, he's caught. You're arrested too, complicity in Cosa Nostra activities. Police interrogation. You were his driver. You heard everything. We know you heard the Falcone and Borsellino plans. Testify. Become pentito. We'll protect you. Or go to prison for life. As accomplice to murders. You're facing life in prison. But more terrifying, breaking omertà means death sentence from Cosa Nostra. Not just your death, your family's death. Your wife Maria, daughter Lucia age 17, your mother. All will be killed as retaliation. Age 37, February 1993, February 1993, you decide. Testify. Become pentito. The prosecutors promise witness protection for you and your family. Full relocation, new identities, government protection. You believe them. You testify. Falcone bombing details, Borsellino bombing details, hundreds of other murders, Riina's orders, Cosa Nostra structure. Your testimony is devastating. You're the driver who heard everything. You convict dozens of mafiosi including Riina for the judge murders. The government moves you to a safe house in Rome. Military protection. They say your family will join you in 3 days. Just logistics, paperwork, relocation planning. Age 37, March-April 1993, March 12, 1993. Your wife Maria is driving to the grocery store in Palermo. Car bomb explodes. She's killed instantly. The government hadn't moved her yet. Logistics delays. March 28, 1993. Your daughter Lucia, age 18, walking to university. 2 men on a motorcycle pull up. Shoot her 4 times. She dies on the sidewalk. The government still hadn't relocated her. Processing paperwork. April 15, 1993. Your mother, age 70, at home in Palermo. Intruders break in. Strangle her. Leave her body for neighbors to find. The government never protected her. Limited resources. 3 deaths in 5 weeks. Your entire family murdered by Cosa Nostra as retaliation for your testimony. You're in the Rome safe house watching the news. Screaming. The prosecutors say, "We're sorry. We did our best." But they didn't. They used you. Got your testimony. Convicted Riina. And let your family die. Age 37 to 68, 1993 to 2024, April 1993, the government relocates you to America. Witness Protection Program. New identity, Robert Miller. New city, Omaha, Nebraska. They give you $5,000 and a social security number. Figure it out. You're 37, in a foreign country, no family, no friends, no Italian community, too dangerous, minimal English, traumatized by 3 murders in 5 weeks. You work minimum wage jobs, dishwasher, janitor, car wash attendant. You live in cheap apartments. You're alone. Completely alone. For 31 years, this is your life. Every morning, check for bombs. Every stranger, potential assassin. Every Italian accent, possible Cosa Nostra. You're a ghost living in fear. You never remarried. Never had more children. Never made close friends. Because anyone you love becomes a target. Omertà reaches across oceans, across decades. Cosa Nostra never forgets. Present day 2024. You're 68, dying of lung cancer, 6 months to live. You've been in Omaha for 31 years. You think every day about what you could have done differently. The truth, you could have stopped both bombings. You heard the Falcone plan weeks before May 23, 1992. You heard the Borsellino plan weeks before July 19, 1992. You could have made an anonymous call. Left a note. Warned someone. But you didn't. You chose omertà. You chose fear. You chose self-preservation. Result, Judge Falcone dead. His wife dead. 3 bodyguards dead. Judge Borsellino dead. 5 bodyguards dead. 10 people total. Heroes of Italy murdered. The anti-Mafia movement devastated. And you said nothing. Then you testified in 1993, not to save the judges, they were already dead, but to save yourself from life in prison. Your testimony convicted Riina, yes. But it was too late. The judges were gone. And your testimony got your family killed. Your wife Maria, age 41, car bomb. Your daughter Lucia, age 18, shot 4 times. Your mother, age 70, strangled. They died because you talked after the judges died. If you'd talked before, the judges would be alive and your family would be alive. But you were a coward twice, too scared to prevent the murders, too scared to stay silent after arrested. You're 68, dying in Omaha, washing cars for minimum wage. You saved no one. You lost everyone. Falcone is dead. Borsellino is dead. Maria is dead. Lucia is dead. Your mother is dead. And you're alive. The driver who heard everything, said nothing when it mattered, talked when it was too late, and lived while everyone else died. This is Cosa Nostra. This is omertà. This is what it means to be a driver for the boss of bosses. You're invisible until you're not. And when you become visible, when you talk, everyone you love dies. But you live. In a witness protection prison. Washing Chevrolets in Nebraska. Remembering the crater on the A29 highway. Remembering Via D'Amelio. Remembering you could have stopped it all. And didn't. The end.